Welcome to Main Street Minds with your host, Amish Munshi. This is where industry leaders and seasoned pros share their secrets to success beyond limits. Let's dive in.
Hello and welcome to Main Street Minds. Today we have a very special guest, Patrick, with us, and I'm very excited because he's in one of my most favorite areas, Chicago neighborhoods. I met my wife over there, and I have like lots of very good memories of that place. I always love what Chicago has to offer, and it's there is just so much diversity and so much innovation that still happens around Chicago. It's just amazing. So without any further delay, let me open up the floor. Patrick, introduce yourself and tell us your secrets.
Sure. Amish, it's good to be with you this morning. So as you mentioned, I'm actually a real estate broker. I started a company back in 2007 called Southwestern Real Estate, and I live in the western suburbs of Chicago. It was kind of an interesting situation of when I started because I was working for a company
Hmm.
out of Nashville called Southwestern, and I was in a different position entirely, where I was working with college students, helping them sell educational products door to door in the summertime.
Oh, sweet.
They've been in that business for over 150 years. And when I came along as a college student, I worked with them in the summers, worked 80 hours a week away from home for the whole summer, ended up paying my way through college in that program.
Hmm.
After graduation, I went to help oversee and recruit students to work in the program. But
Hmm.
after about 13 years, the travel schedule was getting a little much, and they knew I
Yeah.
wasn't in the probably thinking I was going to continue. And they approached me and said, we have other companies in our corporation,
Hmm.
but we would love to have a residential real estate brokerage that we could scale because a lot of
Yeah.
our students eventually, after they've worked with us, go into real estate.
Yeah.
So would you be interested in starting it?
Yeah.
Now, at the time, I didn't know anything about real estate. Um,
Yeah.
so, in fact, I had been a part of some real estate investments. But of
Yeah.
course, as 2007 started to hit and as going into 2008, everything in the real estate world was starting to fall.
Yeah.
Um, so I really wasn't thinking that that was going to be a good fit for me. But after taking a year to investigate the industry and kind of think through what are the keys to success in this
Hmm.
business, I really felt like this is a thing I could do that wouldn't require any travel.
Yeah.
I could continue to work with this same corporation that I love.
Hmm.
And so in 2007, they actually, this is really crazy, Amish. They changed the rules around the requirements for starting a real estate company
Hmm.
because so many agents were getting out of the business.
Yeah.
They thought, well, let's switch up the rules and say you can start your own company on day one of getting your
Yeah.
license as long
Oh,
as you
wow.
go through the extra education to become a managing broker.
Yeah.
So I
And
approached,
I know it's very state specific, right? So was that within Illinois or
as far as I know, it was just an Illinois thing,
yeah.
and it's a bad idea. I will say that
Yeah.
because here I went through all the education, got the license, and I'm now street legal to sell real estate, and I don't know anything other than what they teach you in the course, and that
Yeah.
is not how real estate works. Those are
Yeah.
just like the rules around real estate.
Yeah.
So, long story, I ended up starting the company as a one-man company.
Hmm.
I had to kind of beg, borrow, and steal all the information I could from other people who knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
But eventually I was able to put a deal together and then another and then another. And
Nice.
after about 5 years of being a one-man company, we decided we now had a track that we could teach other people how to do this.
Hmm.
And I started recruiting, and now we have offices in 4 states. So
Sweet.
we
Yeah.
have two offices in Illinois, Nashville, Tennessee.
Mhm.
We're in various parts of Florida and Alabama.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
And I might take a quick break and like ask you a very basic question.
sure.
Do other people also ask you why is it called Southwestern when it's nowhere in Southwest?
Yeah, exactly. So, and I used to joke like, well, it's because you're always southwest of something, you know.
Yeah,
But no, and actually that's kind of an interesting thing because when I first started, I had a lot of insecurity about, why would anybody hire me? I
yeah,
I'm new to this job. I have a company name outside of Chicago that's Southwestern.
yeah,
Nobody knows what that is.
yeah.
And there's, and when I explain, oh, it's because of this company in Nashville that's called Southwestern, and none of it was a reason. There's no brand, there's no nothing. Why
Yeah.
are people going to work with me? And what I found is that there was a moment of clarity where this all
Hmm.
came together for me. When I started the company, Southwestern said, "Hey, you can call it whatever you want. It doesn't have to be
Okay.
Southwestern Real Estate." So I had a
Hmm.
different company name,
Hmm.
and after several months of working with that name, I thought, this is, this name doesn't mean anything to anybody either. So
Yeah,
what if I just renamed it to identify with the
sure.
parent company? Because there
Right.
are a lot of people that I want to work
That
with in the
makes sense.
future where that
Yeah.
would mean something to them. So
Okay.
I changed the name of the company to Southwestern Real Estate. And in doing so, I thought I got to call back through my, most recent clients to let them know I've done a name change. And
Yeah.
one of the first people I called, I called him up and I said, "Hey, by the way, I just want to let you know I'm changing the name of my company to
Hmm.
Southwestern Real Estate." And he
Hmm.
goes, "Oh, what was the name of your company?" And I'm like, "What? You
Yeah.
don't know?" And he goes, "Well, I was only working with you because it's you and I trust you. I
Yeah.
wasn't really concerned about the name of the brokerage." So
Yeah.
that told me what
Yeah.
the real deal is not the name of the company, it's not the brand. I mean, that does probably move the needle on some level, but
Sure.
as an
Yeah.
individual real estate agent, you can be successful without those things if you
Yeah.
have good systems in place and if you
Yeah.
understand how people make their actual decisions around choosing
Mhm.
a realtor.
Yeah, makes sense. And when I switched from tech to real estate, that was one of the most important criterias and reasoning why I moved, because this is one of the last industries left, which is more based on personal connections and personal
Yes.
people relationships, right? Uh, Almost every other industry is like pretty big box corporates. Like I would still think about buying something from a local grocery store versus
Mm.
buying from a chain of grocery store, right? Like,
Yeah,
is it going to be the same? Like in something that's like so important to our life with health, we prefer large corporations over smaller ones. And this like when we go to the store, I have no idea who the checkout person is. Like
right.
there's nothing left. There's no personal relationship left. And
That's
this
right.
real estate is the only one where personal connection are way more important than everything else. Like I'm going to buy a house in this neighborhood because my friend lives there, because my realtor recommended it. I think it's a good area. The person has been there for 15, 20 years. They think this is a good neighborhood and a good house. I trust them.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. And I
So,
think that is ultimately what drove me to the method that I use for building my business,
mhm.
which is really focusing on the referrals
Yeah.
from people who know me, trust me,
Mhm.
and that they would pass my name on to their friends when they have real estate needs.
Yeah, exactly.
And then that eventually grew into also working through my past clients
Hmm.
because those are the people who've had the experience.
Hmm.
And if you think about all the different ways that people will choose a real estate agent, in that some people will click a button on Zillow or
Hmm.
Redfin and go, I need to find an agent. I'll just click this button.
Yeah.
That's a way. There's
Yeah.
billboards. When I go to the grocery store, there's a realtor's face on the little
Yeah.
cart, and it's
Yeah.
like they're bus stops with real estate names. So all of those things can lead to business.
Hmm.
But what it what I believe is that all of those things exist and they all
Yeah.
cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
But if a friend says,
Oh,
"Oh,
yeah.
did you choose your agent yet? Because if not, you should talk to Pat."
Hmm.
It's done. They're like,
Yeah.
"Why? You worked with them? You like him? Okay, I'll
Yeah.
work with him too." It's done.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's a very big, important decision in anybody's life.
Yeah.
And yeah, and like and I would still say like somebody getting started who doesn't have the network, it's great to still use all of those sources, but the real business will be done when that lead or that customer or a client is actually referring you to somebody else. That means you
That's
are
right.
really in business at that stage.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah. Cool. So tell us more about what's happening in your market. Like what is going on right now in last 2, 3 years.
Yeah. Okay, so this has been an interesting year. I will definitely say that. So now I'll tell you this, Amish. Up until this past year, I didn't
Mhm,
really pay that much to what's going on nationally because I was
mhm,
just kind of consumed with what's my day to day,
mhm,
what's going on in my market outside of
mhm.
Chicago. But I did start a podcast about a year ago, just wanting to see, kind
Yeah,
of like you, I just wanted to see if I could learn the craft
yeah.
and see if it would be enjoyable. So I started a podcast, and as a part of that, it required me to learn all the dynamics of what's going on in various parts of the country.
Mhm,
And what I think is really interesting is pretty much, I mean,
mhm.
there's always exceptions to this, but pretty much since COVID, it's like the whole country has kind of experienced the same real estate market conditions.
Yeah,
You've got these situations where everybody's, low inventory, high demand.
yeah.
We all kind of followed the interest rates and everybody's market shifted as the rates went up or
Mhm,
whatever. What is interesting to me right now is how now it's starting to segment. Now
mhm.
it's starting to break up, and there's
Yeah,
different markets going on all over the country.
yeah.
So, depending on the job situation,
Mhm,
you've got a lot of migration coming out of the Sun Belt, where
mhm.
before that's where people were rushing to.
Yeah.
So, what's going on in the uh, Chicago market is still this continuation
Mhm.
of low inventory, high demand.
Okay.
So, what I can usually do, it kind of depends on the actual product, but I
Mhm,
can usually still expect to put a house on the market on a Thursday, entertain several showings, collect multiple offers, and make a
mhm.
decision by Sunday night.
Sweet. Yeah.
So that's
Really
and
good.
prices are still going up, and people are trying
Yeah.
to outbid each other.
Mhm,
Now, as I work with buyers, I just have to prepare them because there's always this feeling like, oh my gosh, if I get competitive, like
mhm,
I feel like I'm going to overspend. But what
mhm.
they need to know is, until we start building enough houses in this market,
Yeah.
there's probably no way that we can satisfy the demand. So this is going
Yeah.
to be a condition that's going to last for a while, which means you
Yeah.
you pay that high price today, a
Mhm.
year from now, that'll look like a bargain.
Yeah. And
So
even if you're spending 50,000 more on your offer and saving 3,500 a month on your rent, that's really only paying 15,000 more.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So there is a lot of coaching that has to go with making sure clients can get properly oriented so that they know how to make good decisions for themselves.
Yeah.
I've also found that just as a practical reality, sometimes I'll work with buyers who need to fail on a few attempts
Yeah.
before they will actually come to their senses and
Yeah.
accept reality. It's almost like a learned thing.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I wanted that house. I thought I put forward a good offer. It wasn't as aggressive as maybe Pat
Mhm.
wanted me to,
Yeah.
but it was where I was comfortable, and he was okay
Yeah.
with that. So now after you miss out on a couple, people start to listen and go, okay, wait, now I actually really, really want this house. Help
Yeah.
me make like
Yeah.
the best offer I can make. What does that
Yeah.
look like? And I'll do it. And
Yeah.
that is, again, you got to be patient with people because it's a hard thing to come to grips with,
Mhm.
but eventually people get there and then they're able to capture the property that they were meant to have.
Cool, cool. So tell us a little bit more about you. Are you currently working with other agents within your brokerage, or are you like also working with clients?
Yeah, so we have two offices here in Illinois,
Mhm,
two little offices. What we've discerned that we're actually really good at is one-on-one mentorship to
mhm.
help people build their business
Okay.
for long-term success.
Hmm.
So, and I know that a lot of brokerages, big national brands will say, well, come here, we've got mentors who will
Yeah,
help you. Um, and that's very different than what we do. The mentorship that you find at a lot of big brands
yeah,
is extremely limited in its mentorship. And
yeah.
eventually it's like, hey, I'll mentor you for pay. I'll
Mm-hmm.
share in your commissions,
Yeah,
and that's a thing. And
yeah. It's a transactional
yep, yes,
engagement.
that's right.
Yeah.
What we do is instead we take it more like a long-term investment. Like we will teach you and we will coach you up
Mm-hmm.
for the entire first year on a
Mm-hmm.
week by week basis, one-on-one.
Yeah.
And we will, as a company, will have availability for you to reach out and connect with other
Mm-hmm.
top producers so that you can get what you need.
Mm-hmm.
And because the thing is that retaining talent is critical for long-term success of a brokerage.
Yeah.
And in this industry, people can change brokerages, every other week if they want to.
Yeah.
So we just really want to make that personal investment towards I will invest in you and I will care about your long-term success because
Mm-hmm.
we want you to be here for 10 years or more. And
Yeah.
so that's really what we've found that we're really good at. We can take a brand new agent who doesn't know
Mm-hmm.
anything and get them to be in the top 1% of all
Mm-hmm.
real estate people. And we've done that over and over again.
Yeah, that is amazing. So tell us a little bit more about like how long does it take for somebody that's starting off, and what should they expect when they're working with you, like an agent, right?
Sure.
Like are they focusing on buyers? Are they focusing on sellers? Are they able to do both? Like how are you guiding them and making them successful?
Okay. So I learned how to sell real estate from being trained by a real estate trainer, a guy named Brian Buffini. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if that name's familiar to you, but he does training all over the country.
Mm-hmm.
And I found his systems to be extremely helpful. So everything that I'm going to say here is
Yeah.
stuff that I've learned from his trainings
Mm-hmm.
and his company, which is great. Now, this is what it comes down to. If I'm uh, if I'm building my network as
Mm-hmm.
a new real estate agent, the question that I'm trying to ask people is, Amish, if you had a friend or family member who
Mm-hmm.
needed to buy or sell real estate, do you have a real estate agent that you're in love with that you would automatically refer them to? Or would
Mm-hmm.
you say you're kind of unattached? Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if you say, yeah, my sister's a realtor and she's awesome, maybe you've heard of her.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, that's where you're going to send your
Sure.
referrals.
Yeah.
But what I found is that it's a very large amount of people that I knew were kind of like, well, I mean, I know some real estate agents, but I don't know if I love them and would automatically send my friends. So yeah, no,
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'm unattached. Well,
Yeah.
great. I'd love to be the person that you think
Mm-hmm.
of when
Mm-hmm.
you do have friends who need real estate help.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's what we've found over the years that with each person that you add to your network who goes, okay, you're going to be my guy. When my friends need real estate, you're going to be my guy.
Mm-hmm.
It takes about 50 people in your network who have
Mm-hmm.
affirmed that you're the guy
Mm-hmm.
before the phone will ring at all. Like with
Right.
somebody going, hey, you know how we were talking about real estate the other day? It's so
Mm-hmm.
weird. I have a friend who needs to buy a place. Could you help them? They're
Yeah.
expecting to hear from you. Okay.
Yeah.
It takes 50 people to make the phone ring.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes about 150 people in your network to
Mm-hmm.
have what we would refer to as a sustainable business.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that would usually constitute, gross commission income of around 100 to 150,000
Mm-hmm.
if you have that many people in your network.
Yeah.
Um, and what we have also found is that people who have networks over 250 are probably now going to be running a business that is in that top tier of
Mm-hmm.
agents in their market, whether it be top one, two, three
Okay.
percent in that market. If you
Mm-hmm.
have a network of over 250 people who are affirming this is my guy,
Mm-hmm.
then that business will translate.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
we've kind of used that as to answer your question, how long
Yeah.
does it take for somebody to build that business?
Mm-hmm.
It takes as long as it takes for them to build that network.
Yeah, that
So
makes a lot of sense because and some of these are very, very crucial, important numbers because A lot of people are like, oh, I'm going to use this system because it gives me unlimited contacts.
Yeah.
You don't need unlimited contacts. You need good relationships with
Yes.
150 to 250 people.
Yes, that's right. I'll give you a great example of this. We have an agent in our Nashville office. She had been in real estate for 20 years.
Yeah.
She was a part of different teams and different
Hmm.
things. The most she had ever sold was 3 houses in a year. Her
Yeah.
name is Stacy Long. She's awesome. So
Yeah.
anyway, she comes and joins our company because she's like, I hear like the people in your group are just crushing it, and
Yeah.
I'm ready to take my career seriously. My
Hmm.
kids are off to college now. I can
Hmm.
fully dedicate myself. And in her first year working with us, she was able to sell 11 houses.
Sweet.
And
Yeah.
the reality was she has all of these people that
Yeah.
knows that she's a real estate
Yeah.
agent, but she never created the network and she
Yeah.
never had the conversations that would make that network go to work.
Yeah.
So now this is her second year working with us, and she's going to blow the lid off the thing this year
Yeah.
because she's already got over 250 people in
Yeah.
her network that have
Mhm.
affirmed her. She's going to crush it. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And there's this constant thought that we need more leads to do more business,
mhm.
and all that it leads to is more expense.
That's right.
The conversion of a cold lead to a closed business more than likely is going to result in negative cash flow.
Exactly.
It's the conversion from that to the second referral, to the third referral, to a relationship, to something that's more meaningful.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
So we try to make real estate as personal as possible, as
yeah,
relational as possible, as
mhm,
human to human as possible. That
yeah,
I think that actually trumps any marketing plan that I've
yeah,
seen. So it does take a lot of effort. It
mhm,
does take time to maintain relationships.
yeah,
And sometimes people would rather just pay for leads and smile and dial and kind of do it that way. And
yeah,
as far as I'm concerned, there's I see the attraction to that in that it's
mhm,
just go to work,
yeah.
grind it and
No,
find deals, but it takes a lot of the fun out of it too,
yeah,
because this is a really heartwarming industry when you're helping
yeah.
people deal with something that's so important to them as their primary residence, their home.
Yeah, and it's the same. I'm doing a few commercial deals, and it's still the same relationship business,
Mm.
right?
Yeah,
It's
that's right.
like I actually wrote an offer on a property, and the listing agent sorry, the seller, we were directly with the seller. We comes back to me and saying, "Can you also be the listing agent?" I was like, that is a unique thing.
That's pretty
Not
cool.
hasn't happened to me before."
That's awesome. Well, you
Yeah.
obviously were treating him
Yeah,
well.
he was like, okay, I don't like you just deal with everything. I
That's awesome.
just tell me where to come and sign.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's amazing. So tell us more about like where do you see yourself in the future? Like, is it going to be a big like how do you manage like four office locations across different geographies,
Yeah.
and like how many agents do you have, and like what is your plan for the future?
Sure. So what I have found is that I could start an office anywhere if it's
Hmm.
with the right leader.
Hmm.
So I used to think I could start an office anywhere
Hmm.
and coach that person up and just make it happen. And I found that that's
Yeah,
not the case.
yeah,
Not everybody is cut out for starting a real estate office, and it can
yeah,
be really lonely at times.
yeah.
And sometimes people don't want to deal with that on their road to success. They would rather be surrounded by a lot of people and have
Hmm.
something that they can plug and play, as opposed to creating and building.
Yeah.
But as I've learned to kind of discern who are the people who can do that, who are really up for that challenge, we've
Hmm.
been able to start these other offices. And that's been great because once we start to add agents in a
Hmm.
particular office, I don't have to oversee everybody. I
Hmm.
just need to keep mentoring the people who are starting the office, and then
Hmm.
they can do their job locally.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason why we've been successful so far is because we've started with great leaders.
Hmm.
And so now the question of what do I see for the future of this business? There are a lot of things that are challenging for boutique brokerages.
Hmm.
And it'll be interesting to see um, how the industry, with all the changes that are going on with these mega mergers and things
I
like
know.
that,
Yeah.
how that might affect the boutique brokerage. So I'm not necessarily concerned about how big we are. That isn't really the thing that brings me the most satisfaction. Um, I want to just focus. And again, this goes back to the idea of who are the people that I'm having the opportunity to work with.
Hmm.
I want to help them succeed. I want to help them thrive and
Hmm.
then help them be able to teach other people how to do that.
Hmm.
We growth is critical, of course, and we will
Yeah.
continue to have a growth focus. But I really just want to make sure that if I'm doing an excellent job with the people I have in front of me, that
Hmm.
that will spin off its own uh, great results in terms of
Yeah.
forward momentum and growth.
Yeah, yeah, and it's amazing how I have experience like internationally as well, and just how different places worked so differently, and it's amazing how things work in US,
Mhm.
right? Uh, like in India, the buyer actually pays the buyer's agent commission, the seller's agent commission, and all the closing cost. Uh,
Wow.
the scarcity of real estate and the demand is just so high that
Oh,
and the scarcity of good housing
yeah.
is just so crazy that I think the seller is probably getting less money
Hmm.
for their house,
Yeah.
uh, and but the buyer has to like really be a very capable to be able to do this.
I
Uh,
guess so. You'd have to have a lot of cash, it seems.
yeah, yeah, and probably that's what makes transactions a lot more difficult. There's
Yeah.
like once somebody owns something, they just don't sell it. Like there's no good reason for somebody to sell it, and
I mean,
that's it. It's a loop, right? Like, and then if they don't have the motivation to sell, there is lack of supply forever.
right. Well, it seems like it's kind of always in one of those make me move kind of markets, like
Yeah,
I have what you need. You're going to have to make me sell it because
yeah,
I don't really need to or want
yeah.
to.
And it's a pretty stable place. Like most people own the house. There's very few rentals. Like the ratio of rentals to ownership is very different.
Yeah.
So if you own a place and you've owned it for like 10, 15, 20 years, the reason to sell is like so low.
Yeah. Well, and if I translate that over to the Chicago market right now, where we're seeing that is at the very high end market,
Yeah,
where there are people who have made a lot of money, in the
yeah,
stock market and other places over the last number of
yeah.
years that they want to put some of that into real estate.
Hmm.
And the upper end of the market is there isn't a lot of it. And the people who have it want to keep it. So
Yeah,
I've found that it is difficult to actually get to find enough inventory to satisfy that demand right now. So
yeah,
those prices, you kind of really have to pound the pavement and kind of look for stuff that isn't on the market and go
yeah,
find it for your clients. And that's
yeah.
a lot of
That's work.
work, but
Yeah.
it does pay well when you can find it. So
Yeah. And I
um,
think if in the luxury market, if somebody's paying 30, 40% down payment, the extra 5% is like, it's nothing.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so I'm experiencing some of that right now. It is crazy to me how the top end has really just taken off within the last 6 months, really, where I've seen like stuff, people coming to me looking for, multi-million dollar properties and
Yeah.
there's nothing to sell them. So,
Yeah.
yeah, this will be interesting to see how that plays out over the course of the year.
Yeah. So tell us more about like how are you seeing the different markets? We did speak about the Chicago market. Are you personally like also managing the other locations in Florida and Alabama?
I'm I wouldn't say I'm overseeing it. So for example, I
Mhm.
don't have licenses in those states, but
Yeah.
I do hear the feedback. So like our Nashville office for
Hmm.
years was always just like everything sells, it's a bidding war for everything, and that market has actually cooled to
Yeah.
where now you see homes will sit on the market if they're not
Hmm.
priced, appropriately. You kind of have to do all the things right to sell your
Hmm.
property.
Yeah.
Um, where it used to be, you could just put it on, put a sign in the yard, and get 10
Oh
offers.
yeah. Yeah. It was.
So Yeah. So no,
Yeah, it's
that's
great. And
cool.
that craziness sustained the longest in Southeast. The Florida
Yeah.
and Tennessee, it sustained that craziness for much longer than the rest of the country.
Yeah. Now, what we're seeing in South Florida is a situation where the single family home market is still on the rise, where condos and attached
Mhm.
dwellings are actually on the decline in terms of
Yeah,
value.
yeah.
So there's a lot of situations going on there in Florida with homeowners insurance that are
Hmm.
causing a problem, and then you've got some HOA, homeowners associations that are struggling because of their insurance that they have to pay
Hmm.
now. The fees for the HOA is going up, so that's where the attached dwellings are actually kind of struggling right now in
Hmm.
South Florida. But again, then you move to the north of Florida and it's different. There's challenges in every single market. And
Yeah,
that's why, it's so critical for people to use a professional,
yeah.
somebody who's in the market every day, who knows what's going on, who can advise
Hmm.
you.
Yeah,
Trying to go solo without an agent would be a fool's errand at this stage for sure.
yeah. And it's just crazy. So many people try to do that, right?
Yeah.
It just feels like it's going to save something or give you a benefit of being directly in communication with the buyer or the seller. And I think 90% of those transactions fail.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
I
there
I
is.
I
It does.
remember a number of years ago there was a property where I was like, oh my gosh, I never see houses that I prefer to my own. But I saw
Yeah,
this house and I was like, man, maybe I want to buy this.
yeah,
And I went home and I thought, okay, well, I'm going to have to sell this. So let me figure out what I could get for my house.
yeah.
And I could not price my own house. I
Oh,
was
yeah.
with I
Crazy.
was within $100,000. I'm like, it
Yeah,
could be this or it could be this.
yeah,
And eventually I had to call a realtor friend to come over. And I'm
yeah,
like, what is this actually worth?
yeah,
And that just goes to the point of we're blind to our own inventory, right?
yeah,
We
yeah,
don't, it's hard to see it, but a third party who's, able to come in and judge things, somebody who's in that market every day can come
yeah,
and look at that and say, here's what this thing's going to sell for.
yeah.
That expertise is worth paying for.
Yeah, exactly. And like, unless you're speaking with 20 people a day and seeing what they want, how do you know what they're willing to pay, what
That's right.
somebody is going to be willing to pay? If there's like five people who's going to pay 500,000 for this, one of them might write an offer for 500,000.
Right. That's right.
Yeah. And it's that to get that maximum dollar amount,
Mhm.
you need to have that local reach, the
That's right.
local reach to the buyers from a seller's perspective, and it's the same with the buyer's agents as well, right? It's what is listed on it. It's just amazing how few people really understand what is involved in sales. It's a
Mhm.
numbers business. If I try selling a motorcycle on Craigslist, yeah, I'm able to do it only if I'm able to create 20, 30 people saying, yes, I'm interested.
Right. Yeah, and I think when it comes to building a real estate business, you have to remember, like as I described, kind of what it takes to build that network and
Yeah,
whatever. What you're going to find over time is that some of the people in your network are going to disappoint you.
yeah,
Like you think you've got 150 people in your network, and then all of a sudden
yeah.
you do a mailer to your network and you get returned mail. And you're like, wait, why did this one come back to me?
Hmm.
Oh, you look it up and you're like, oh, they sold their house and they
Yeah,
didn't use me? What? I thought they were in my network. You
yeah,
know, so what we always have to remember is that real estate is as much as people tend to buy what they want. We're not
hmm,
really necessarily selling houses. Like we don't have to inspire people to go look at how beautiful this house is. I mean, people can see for themselves and decide what they want to buy. But where sales comes in to be critical is that you have to always be building your network
hmm,
because I always liken it to a house party. If the house party, you better leave the front door open for more people to come in
hmm.
because the back door is always open and
Oh, yeah,
people will eventually file
yeah,
out.
yeah,
So that's why
and
it is a constant building of bringing
yeah,
new people into your network to
yeah.
offset. what you're losing.
Yeah. And what's just in terms of numbers, like what has been like somebody that's like a high performer and like what's the maximum number of contacts that a person, an agent is able to actually handle and keep those relationships alive?
Well, that's a really good question. Okay, so Gary Keller, I believe, has a system where at Keller Williams where they talk about, I think it's 32 touch points over the course of a year,
Okay.
where it's kind of, you can write letters, you can do a personal note, you can do a check-in call, you can do an
Mm-hmm.
email, there's all these different touch points that
Mm-hmm.
will cause someone's real estate antenna to stay up so that they will refer business to you. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
that's odd number, you could stick to it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what I have found, I used to kind of be super regimented about I need to write this many personal notes to people, handwritten
Yeah.
notes. I need to check in with them by phone a certain number of
Mm-hmm.
times, uh, and do a monthly mailer to people through
Mm-hmm.
snail mail, whatever. What I have found now is that if I plan 3 client events throughout the year,
Mm-hmm.
where I'm inviting people to come do a
Okay.
thing,
Yeah.
the amount of contact and follow
Sure.
up and connection getting those events put together
Yeah.
meets the need that I have for client awareness.
Mm-hmm.
So I do so I just set up my first client event where I'll have, I rented a movie theater,
Mm-hmm.
and the first 150 people who respond from my network get to go see Toy Story 5, which is coming
Mm-hmm.
out in a couple of
Nice.
months.
Yeah.
Family friendly, bring the kids,
Yeah.
all that kind of good stuff. So people get to come see a movie for free, and a lot of times it's the kids' first time going to a movie theater, so it's a
Yeah.
special thing.
Yeah.
Well, to publicize the event,
Mm-hmm.
to have people RSVP, to follow up with them to confirm that they're going to be there, then
Mm-hmm.
to see them in person when they come,
Mm-hmm.
and to have a takeaway that they can leave with. All of the touch points that are involved in that churns out their heightened awareness over the process of putting
Yeah.
that all together to go, they're thinking about real estate. And that
Yeah.
way, if a friend mentions real estate, they're quick to go, oh, wait, do you have an agent? Because if you don't, I've got the perfect person. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what it means to stay top of mind.
Mm-hmm.
And so, with 3 client events spread out through the year and all of
Mm-hmm.
the contact, that I have found is enough to make that network
Right.
keep me
Yeah.
top of mind.
Yeah. And are you like, do you do like a networking event with other agents, like with the whole team, or is this like you're doing this by yourself?
Yeah, so that is a thing that I do for my own personal
Okay.
sales, to drive my personal
Sure.
sales. So,
Okay.
but I'm mentoring other agents on how
Sure.
to do
Because
this,
it's
of
something
course.
similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll do a massive party at the end of the summer, and
Mm-hmm.
that'll be about 300 people will be at that. And that's like a huge, piece of
Sure.
what people
Yeah.
have come to expect. And
Yeah.
then in the fall, we do Pie Day, where people actually come to my house. They
Nice.
pick up a pumpkin pie or an apple pie to
Yeah.
take to Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
and so again, it's just a lot of person to person connection.
Yeah.
The other thing that I think has been, and people choose their groups, right? So
Mm-hmm.
if you're going to network with groups, you pick things that you already would want to do, so it's not a
Mm-hmm.
chore. But
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that I've found is, even the process of going to church every Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
interestingly enough, there's so much face-to-face connection with people that
Yeah.
you have relationships with.
Yeah.
It actually makes them continue to think about real estate. So I'm not saying join a
Yeah.
church so you can build your
Yeah.
business,
Yeah.
but if you did, it would probably work.
Yeah, and I think it's I think it just builds that discipline in a person, right? Saying, hey, there is some schedule to life. Like it's very easy to get lost when trying to
Yeah,
build a business, and especially this will be more for majority of the agents. This is the first business they are building. Very few people will be
that's right.
coming from a business background and then like switching over and have that understanding of what is needed to succeed. People are like trying to figure out how to do accounting, how to do taxes, how to maximize revenue, how to reduce cost, how to maximize every like. There's just so much to do, and people forget that their only real job is sales.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. And I mean, it all comes down to what habits are you developing? You
Yeah.
know, are your habits being on FaceTime or being on Facebook? You know, are your habits, like doom scrolling?
Yeah.
Are your habits, being what we would call off schedule?
Yeah.
If that's the case, it makes it really hard to
Yeah.
spend the time doing the things that move your business.
Yeah.
And I saw a study a couple years ago that said real estate agents spend 25% of their day on social media or,
Yeah.
surfing the web.
Yeah.
And I thought, I don't really do either of those things. I don't use social media for
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
And because of that, I get 25% more time.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a game changer.
And it's huge. It's not because 50% of the time is lost sleeping or doing something that's like just maintenance. And
Right.
then if you, the remaining 25, if you give it away, there is no time to work.
That's right. Yeah. So I think, I just had a conversation with one of my agents here where we were discussing, he's a young dad, he's building his business, and he's really in the grind of
Hmm.
he's committed to doing it. And that's what you have to be committed to make this thing work. And that doesn't last forever because you can get your business up to a level where you have momentum. It doesn't feel like a grind.
Hmm.
But in his case, he's in that phase. And I was like, so what's your sleep schedule
Hmm.
and what's your exercise schedule?
Yeah.
Because if you can create good habits around those two things,
Yeah.
then you can actually maximize the time that you're working. So
Yeah.
that way, when your wife says, I need you home by this time because we're having family dinner, the kids
Hmm.
want to be with you, you want to be with the kids, and then no work after that. Well,
Hmm.
you can totally rock out a
Hmm.
great day of results and moving your
Yeah.
business forward if you're
Yeah.
committed to making sure that as a person you're taking
Hmm.
care of yourself.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things that we have to establish good
Sure.
habits.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that as we come close to the end of this episode, like I would say like the structure and the ability to think, saying like putting, it's like when you put yourself at a priority, that's when you will be able to do better for your clients.
That's
A
right.
lot of us, I'm to blame as well. We end up just focusing so much on like how can we do more for the client, we forget to take care of ourselves, and
Yeah,
then we are not even able to take care of the client.
that's right.
Yeah.
And people can sense it. They
Yeah.
can tell if you're on top of your game or not.
Hmm.
And so I think it's critical just as you said, it's critical to take care of yourself, make sure that you
Yeah.
have healthy habits. We're not doing this for a season. We're trying to build careers for
Yeah.
as long as we feel like working, and
Hmm.
that's going to take some personal care to make that
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah, absolutely. So as we come to the close of this episode, like, are there any other things that you would love to share with the audience?
Sure. I would say if you're listening to this episode and you are either in real estate, and or you're thinking about getting into real estate,
Hmm.
um, if you're a realtor, a current realtor, and you're like, man,
Hmm.
I'm struggling to make this thing turn into what I want,
Hmm.
we can help with that.
Yeah.
And so if you're just interested in a conversation, I'd love to take
Hmm.
that call. If you're thinking about getting into real estate, we're really, really good at helping people go from day one
Hmm.
to high success. So we're not afraid of newbies.
Sure.
Um, and then, if you're local to Chicago, and you need a house to buy or sell or anything like
Yeah.
that, give me a call. We can talk about it.
Sure. And what's the best way they can reach you?
Well, hopefully my contact info will be in the show
Sure.
notes.
Yeah.
Also, you can check out the podcast that I have called Open House with Pat Roach.
Sure.
And there might be a link to that in the show notes as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm easy to get a hold of, and I'm happy
Okay.
to give out my cell phone.
Sweet. Yeah. So and so I'll include everything in the notes, and people can just easily click and reach you.
Awesome.
Sounds great. Thanks. Thanks for taking time on a busy Saturday morning. Weekends are always a little more work focused for us
That's
in
right.
our world, but thanks for taking time and like coming on the show.
Thank you so much, Amish. It's great to meet you.
Thanks.
That's a wrap on today's episode of Main Street Minds. Want to share your journey with our audience? Head over to mainstreetmindspodcast.com/guest to apply.